You ever just stare at a blank page, or a messy room, or an unopened textbook, and you just feel completely stuck? I mean, you know exactly what you need to do, right? You've got the plan, you've got the knowledge, but actually taking that first step, it feels like trying to push a mountain. It's a feeling we all know, and today we're going to take that feeling apart piece by piece and really uncover the secret to finally taking action.
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Seriously, we live in an age where we have unlimited information right at our fingertips. We know how to get fit, we know how to build a business, we know how to learn a new skill. The problem isn't a lack of knowledge. So, what is it? What's this invisible force field that keeps us from doing the things we know we should do? In this explainer, we are going to find out, and, even more importantly, we're going to learn how to smash right through it. And hey, speaking of taking action, here's a super small one you can take right now. If you're getting value from this and you want more explainers just like it, a quick tap on that like button and hitting subscribe makes a massive difference for us. It's a tiny little action that really helps our channel grow. And honestly, we'd be so grateful for it.
All right, here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to name our enemy, the Great Action Gap. Then we're going to completely dismantle its #1 weapon, which is the motivation lie. After that, we'll build our very own engine for creating momentum. We'll learn to defeat those internal villains, you know them, fear and doubt. We'll unlock the superpower of taking that first tiny step. And finally, we'll forge a brand new identity as someone who actually gets things done. Let's do this.
Okay, let's dive right into our first big concept, the Great Action Gap. Now, this is the foundation for everything we're about to cover, because it's the real reason we feel so stuck. It is that frustrating, invisible canyon between what we know we ought to do and what we actually end up doing.
So what is the action gap really? Well, it's just the space between your knowledge and your execution. Just think about it for a second. We all have the blueprints to build a better life, but so often, we just leave them sitting on the table. It's kind of like having a gym membership, the perfect workout plan from a top trainer and a brand new pair of sneakers. But you never actually get off the couch. See, the problem isn't that we need more blueprints, it's that we've forgotten how to pick up the hammer and just start building. Our entire goal here is to close that gap. For good.
So how do we start building? The most common answer you'll hear is, "Oh, I'm just waiting for motivation to strike." Well, you might want to buckle up, because we are about to expose that very idea as the single biggest lie in personal development.
Just look at this. It seems so simple, but I promise you, this is absolutely profound. We have been taught our entire lives the formula on the left. Motivation comes first, and then it leads to action. We think we need to feel inspired, we need to feel energized, and totally ready before we can start. But the science and just plain reality is the complete opposite. Action has to come first. Action is the spark that creates the fire of motivation, not the other way around.
This right here is a total game changer. Motivation is not some magical feeling you have to sit around and wait for. It's a chemical reward. When you take a small action and you make even a tiny little bit of progress, your brain releases dopamine. And that dopamine feels good, right? It hardwires you to want to do that thing again. It's literally your brain saying, "Yes, that was good. Do more of that." So think of it this way. Motivation is the prize you get for starting, not the ticket you need to get in the door.
So the real cycle, the one that actually works, looks like this. You start with a small, messy, imperfect action. That action then gives you immediate feedback. You see a little progress. Maybe you just wrote one paragraph, or you cleaned one tiny corner of the room. Your brain sees that progress and rewards you with a little hit of dopamine. And that feeling, that's the motivation you need to take the next step. It's this beautiful self-perpetuating loop. But you have to remember, it only starts with one thing: imperfect action.
Okay, so if action is what creates motivation, how do we make that a repeatable habit? Well, that's where we build a system. It's called the Unstoppable Action Cycle, and this is your practical, everyday engine for getting things done.
This cycle has 4 simple but super powerful stages. First, you act, and any small imperfect action will do. Second, you get feedback. What happened? Did it work? Did it fail? Third, you adjust. Based on that feedback, you just tweak your approach a little bit. And fourth, you repeat. You take the next, slightly smarter action. See, it's not a straight line to success. It's a continuous loop that builds unstoppable momentum over time.
And this is the perfect way to understand why that momentum is so important. Think all the way back to high school physics class and Newton's law of inertia. Getting that giant boulder to start rolling is incredibly difficult. That's you, stuck in the action gap. But once that boulder is moving, it takes way less energy to keep it going. The action cycle is your system for that first massive push to overcome that inertia. Oh, this is such a critical mindset shift. We're all trained to see failure as a stop sign, a dead end, right? But inside the action cycle, failure is just data. It's not a judgment on you or your abilities. It is simply invaluable information for the adjustment phase. It's just telling you, okay, that didn't work, let's try something else. The second you start seeing failure as data, it loses all of its emotional power over you.
Of course, knowing the cycle is one thing, but actually doing it means you gotta battle those internal villains that keep us stuck, fear and doubt. So let's arm ourselves with the mental tools we need to defeat them once and for all.
This is one of the most powerful techniques you can possibly use, relabeling your fear. Here's a fascinating little fact. Physiologically, the feeling of fear, the racing heart, the sweaty palms, is identical to the feeling of excitement. The only difference is the story you tell yourself about it. So the next time you feel that anxiety before a big presentation, don't label it fear of judgment. I want you to consciously relabel it as excitement. Tell yourself it's a growth signal. It's proof that you're pushing your boundaries, and that's exactly where you want to be.
And now for the big one. The question that whispers in our ear and just paralyzes us before we even start. What if I fail?
But here's the thing, that is completely the wrong question to be asking. It frames failure as this huge catastrophe, a final destination that we have to avoid at all costs.
Here is the reframe that will change everything. The real question is not what if I fail, it's when I fail. Because let's be honest, failure is an inevitable and necessary part of the process. How quickly can I learn from it and adjust? This simple shift in language transforms failure from a terrifying monster into just another manageable step in our action cycle. It completely strips the fear right out of it.
Now, let's zoom in on the single most critical moment in this entire process. We've talked a lot about inertia, and now we're going to focus on the most powerful way to crush it every single time, and that is by harnessing the power of step 1. And that brings us to this beautifully simple tool, the 5-minute rule. The strategy is this: whatever task you're putting off, just commit to doing it for 5 minutes. That's it. You don't have to finish it. You don't even have to do a good job. Your only goal is to start for just 5 minutes.
So why is this so ridiculously effective? It's because it lowers the barrier to entry so low that your brain's resistance just kind of melts away. The goal is no longer this huge, scary thing like write a 10-page paper. It's just open the document and type for 5 minutes. You're basically tricking your brain into overcoming that initial inertia. And the magic of it is, once those 5 minutes are up, the momentum you've already built often makes it surprisingly easy to just keep going. And finally, we arrive at the most transformative idea of them all. This entire system of cycles and rules and reframes, it isn't just about changing what you do. It's about fundamentally changing who you see yourself as. It's about forging a completely new identity.
Ultimately, it all comes down to a choice. You can be the waiter. That's the person who waits for the perfect moment, waits for motivation to strike, waits for permission. The waiter lives permanently stuck in the action gap. Or you can choose to be the doer. The doer creates their own motivation through action, gives themselves permission to start messy, embraces imperfection, and lives inside that powerful momentum-building action cycle.
It all boils down to this one simple, timeless truth. All the planning, all the learning, and all the dreaming in the world mean absolutely nothing without that first step. The real secret to getting ahead is just getting started.
So I'll leave you with this one final question. Right now, what is one tiny, ridiculously, stupidly small action you can take toward a goal you've been putting off? I don't mean tomorrow, I don't mean in an hour, I mean right now. Open the document, put on your running shoes, send that one email, take that first step, and start your action cycle today.